I've totally fallen in love with the mother of my child, but she's talking about moving out so I can date, and I have no idea how to tell her how I truly feel. 3.5 years ago, she showed up at my door with a positive test in her hand and an apology already forming on her lips. We had met once, a mutual friend's birthday, too many drinks, one very consequential night. She was living with 2 roommates in a 1-bedroom and I had a spare room, so the logical thing was for her to move in while we figured things out. That was the plan, figure things out. Neither of us had any idea what that meant. Our son was born 7 months later, 6 pounds, 4 ounces, the loudest, most terrifying, most extraordinary thing I had ever been in the same room with in my life. I remember standing in the hospital hallway at 2 in the morning, thinking that nothing was ever going to be the same. I was right about that. I just had no idea how much better different could feel. We built a routine fast because we had to. She handled mornings, I handled nights. She cooked on weekdays, I took over on weekends. We split the laundry, the groceries, the pediatrician appointments, the daycare pickups. We argued about the thermostat constantly. She runs cold, I run hot. We compromised on 68 and both complained about it. We watched the same shows in the living room after our son went to sleep. Not because we planned to, but because neither of us wanted to sit alone in our rooms. I told myself that was practical. 2 people sharing a space, nothing more than that. I told myself that for 3 years. The truth was quieter than that, and it had been building the whole time. It was in the way I already knew her coffee orders so well that I just made it every morning without asking. It was in the way she would reach over and fix my collar before I left for work, without thinking, the way you do something you've done 1,000 times. It was in the way our son would fall asleep between us on the couch on Saturday nights and neither of us would move, and we'd just sit there in the dark with him breathing between us, and that felt like the most complete thing I had ever experienced. I noticed it clearly for the first time about 8 months ago, when she went to a bachelorette weekend, and the apartment felt wrong the entire time she was gone. Not empty because our son wasn't there. He was with me. Wrong because she wasn't there. The kitchen was too quiet. The show we were halfway through felt pointless to watch alone. I slept badly both nights and had no excuse for it. I just missed her. I didn't do anything with that. I filed it somewhere I didn't have to look at it and kept going. Then last Tuesday happened. She asked me to sit down after dinner, and I could tell from the way she was holding herself that she had rehearsed what she was about to say. She told me our son was old enough now. She said I deserved to actually build a life, to date someone, to not have a co-parent taking up the space where a real relationship could be. She pulled out her phone and showed me an apartment listing. 2 bedrooms, 20 minutes away, available the 1st of next month. She looked at me like she was waiting for me to agree. I nodded. I said okay. I went to my room. I stared at my ceiling for 2 hours. The logical version of this was obvious. We were not together. We had never been together. She was right. I still felt like someone had reached into my chest and rearranged something. The next morning I came out to find her already up, taping a box closed in the living room. Books mostly. A candle from the shelf by the window. A framed print she'd hung in the hallway her 2nd week here that I'd stopped noticing because it just looked like it belonged there. And then she picked up the little stuffed elephant our son cannot sleep without. She had bought it at the hospital gift shop the day he was born, and she folded it carefully and set it in the box. I don't know why that was the thing. I just know it was. I walked over and said wait. She looked up. I told her I didn't want her to go. Not because of our son, not because of the routine, not because splitting everything down the middle had become easy. I told her I didn't want her to go because somewhere in the last 3 years, between the thermostat arguments and the Saturday nights on the couch and the coffee I made without asking every single morning, I had fallen completely in love with her, and I had been too scared to say it because we had built something real and I was terrified of being the one who broke it. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she set the elephant down on top of the box, and she told me she had been waiting for me to say that since the day our son was born. The box is still sitting in the corner of the living room. Neither of us has unpacked it yet.